Welcome back to Sip2Tally Films. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and I noticed that Eric DeCosta did a show on Benny and Hale on 105.7 The Fan yesterday, which was actually hosted this particular day by Cordell Woodland. And so I caught a piece of this as I was driving back home yesterday, and phone kind of lost service and whatnot, so I didn't finish the interview. So I said I wanted to come once I got back to basically listen to it and hear and give my 2 cents and see what you guys have to think about it down in the comment section. So what we're gonna do is listen to DeCosta's interview on Benny and Hale with again Cordell Woodland happened to be one of the co-hosts sitting in for one of the guys this particular day. And right after the intro, we'll see what DeCosta had to say and see if anything interesting or exciting comes out of this little interview with Cordell Woodland and Benny and or Hale. Run the intro. All right, so let's take a look at what was said, and we'll chime. Like I said, I'll chime in, as we go.
For us this morning, Eric, how's it going?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. Yep. Weather's heating up. Football's right around the corner.
Yeah, we'll be out there in 2 weeks, Eric?
Yeah, don't remind me. I've had a great summer. I really have. Had a great time with my family, and as I always say, I got the greatest job. I'd have the greatest job in the world if it wasn't for the season.
Oh, right.
Because you're not in control anymore. You kind of you're a fan in a lot of ways, watching the team week to week. You know how it is, Vinny. Yep. You just sit there and you watch the team, and it can be a really challenging thing. So I'm excited, but I'm also sad that the summer is ending.
Well, Eric,
and part of that is because from January, the end of January, up until now, it's DeCosta season. When that's evaluating players, picking players in the draft, looking, at free agents to try to add to the value of the team. This is his time of year. His time of year is dwindling down, so I can kind of understand where he's coming from. Probably when he decided to go on vacation with his family, that was pretty much. I'm gonna say that's not the end of his work because his job is year round, but the bulk of his job is packed in that little months. Now I'm sure they got other stuff to do throughout the season, but the meat of his job is probably coming to an end for 2026.
One of the big questions, I want to, let people know a little bit about like what you and your guys, because people don't know about what the GM does during training camp. You're out at practice, but they don't see the behind the scenes, you study and film, meeting, do, contracts, all that kind of stuff. So tell the fans a little bit about kind of like what you do. And then also like your scouts, what the college scouts do during camp, what the pro scouts are doing, because they all have duties that they have responsibilities for.
Yeah, that's right, Vinny. So the scouts will be here the first week of camp. They'll all come in. They live all over the country, and the area guys will come in. And I think the biggest thing that we're trying to do initially is grade the team. So each scout has a position. They're out there every day. We got some guys that are looking at one side of the ball, but mostly guys are looking at a position or two. And our goal is that by the time training camp is over, we've got reports filed on all of our guys we have a really, really good sense for what the roster looks like, strengths and weaknesses, positions of need, and then how do we compare to past teams, which is something that I find very useful. Comparing our grades on this roster to other.
Before this thought gets out of my head, I really like the fact that the scouts come in and they do the scouting of the players on the roster to try to build a profile. I like. I don't know if they do that, across the league in the NFL, and if they do, that's great. But I do like the fact that, because for the most part, if they're a college scout, they're gonna scout college guys. If they're a pro scout, they're gonna scout pro guys. I think them doing this is a way to come together and understand what they're looking for holistically, so they can be on the same page when they go in and looking for a certain type of receiver or a certain type of O lineman or whatever. I like this idea. And again, I don't know if they do this universally in the NFL, but hearing this, I think this is a really good idea for the scouts to come in and do that.
Rosters that we've had in the past, we've got all that information. And then our pro guys, as the preseason games are starting, our pro guys are just cranking out pro tape, trying to evaluate every player on the roster. A lot of the back end guys, we're trying to find guys that would be worth a claim if they got cut at the cut date, guys that we think could help us in different ways and special teams, but really a way for us to just evaluate a lot of those back end guys, trying to find if, there are a few guys that might be able to help us. And I've always said that George Kokinis is the master of that. That's a strong suit of his. He loves it. He grinds that pro tape, and he'll know every single player on the back end of all these rosters that have a chance to come in and help us, whether that's a special teams linebacker, a nickel corner, a fifth or sixth receiver, an offensive lineman, a 10th offensive lineman. We'll know those guys. And then at some point,
So before you go to whatever this next point is, what I'm hearing from this is those guys, they look at everybody's roster player 40 through 80. And they trying to find one or two guys that can come in and be number 52 or number 53 for us. And if you don't understand the numbers, I'm saying roster players 40 through 80, which is pretty much your non-starters, guys that play during the preseason, guys trying to make a name for themselves. And I say 80 because they don't have but one cut day now, and maybe more than 8. I'm not sure. And what they doing is they just looking at all these different players, all their special teams reps, maybe their preseason reps. Then they may, like, once somebody catches their eye, I'm assuming they're gonna go back and look at their college reps, and then they can come back to say, hey, this might be a guy that can, be player 52, player 50, player 53 on our roster if we bring him in. Or if he gets cut, he can replace player 50, 51, or 52 on the Ravens roster because he's better than said player. That's what I'm hearing from that.
Area guys are going to go back home, and they're going to start attending two-a-days at their schools. And so they're...
Because I don't think nobody do 2 days no more, buddy. I don't think nobody do 2 days no more. Maybe a practice and a meeting, but I don't think nobody do 2 days no more.
They're going to go out into the areas, and they're going to hit all the schools that they can in two-a-days to really get a first look at a lot of these guys. We've watched these guys on tape, but in some cases, our area scouts haven't actually put their eyes on these players. And so that's a really important step for us to look at their body types, the way that they move, the way that they play, and to get a first look and to get some information from sources as well. So, and then I think in my role, what I'm trying to do is work with the coaches to try and get a good sense for how they feel about the players, their evaluations of the players, and then just putting out fires each day, injuries that occur, trying to find guys, trying to bring guys in who can be, depth guys for us in camp, because you don't want your starters taking a ton of reps. And so you've got to have backup guys who can play effectively enough to run the offense, to run the defense during camp so that you can get your work accomplished.
Hey, Eric, what was funny was, like, whenever I'd go in after practice, the owner would ask me, said, how was practice today? I said, nobody got hurt. It was a great day,
Agreed. I can remember being in preseason camp for my own team and getting alerts on my phone when who's that got hurt? I think it was Dobbins, and then shortly after Gus Edwards, and then I think maybe Marcus Peters. I was like, preseason, a great day is just every guy walk off the field that walked out there. I agree 100%. You get a little teaching going in, but if you can come off the field healthy, I think that's a great day of practice.
I mean, that was always the biggest thing, is nobody gets hurt. Now, Eric, talking about kind of what the scouts do and stuff, like, how many practices or preseason games before you decide if you need to add a veteran, let's say center, wide receiver, that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's different phases. I mean, you might get a couple guys dinged, and you might say, we got to get a couple guys in here to eat some reps. That's a little different than looking at a position group and saying, you know what, we're not good enough. And we might need a guy, whether that's a trade, whether that's a claim, whether that's going out and signing a free agent who's on the streets. And so that might take place after the first week of camp, second week of camp. The other way, though, is you get a couple hamstrings, and now you're just looking for a couple of receivers.
So the thing is, in the past, and all I can speak on is in the past because we had the same guy for 18 years. In the past, a lot of your players, a lot of your big time players, they not gonna get a lot of quality reps in preseason because again, your best practice is when everybody walking off the field healthy. So you're not gonna get a bunch of meaningful reps in the preseason. So you gotta have guys to be able to play the game, and so you can evaluate them same back end players I talked about, 40 through 80. You need enough guys out there so a competition can be had. So you just got to find guys that maybe fit, that don't have a job, and with the potential or with the opportunity can come in and take a job. Like you look at I want to say Keon Martin was a quote unquote, basically he was an NFL walk on. Basically, he tried out, like wasn't a preferred UDFA or nothing. He just tried out and made the 53, which was crazy. And now potentially he's going to easily make the 53 this year and contribute in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Who can run routes, because you don't want a Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman taking a ton of reps in practice every day. It's going to be hot, and you really want to manage those
spread
guys
them reps
as best
out
as you can. You don't want the Ronnie Stanleys and the Roger Rosengardens taking all the reps at tackle. So you want Emory Jones taking a lot of reps at tackle to see how
there's
he holds
Emory
up.
at tackle again.
But then you get a couple injuries, then all of a sudden you're looking for a tackle to bring in to take some reps to preserve those guys. Because the reality of it is, Vinny, a lot of these guys aren't going to probably play a lot in the preseason games.
I was just saying that.
So then how do we get through the games? Do we have enough guys to play these positions in the games to get us out of the games? A lot of teams now are doing, these practices against other opponents as in place of necessarily playing guys in the games. And so we'll have a chance to do that this year with a couple teams in the preseason where we'll have a chance to compete against those guys prior to our game. Those really replace a lot of ways the preseason game for the veteran players. So it gives us a chance to evaluate those guys, but under more controlled situations where we can kind of manage their health as well.
We're talking to Ravens GM Eric DeCosta, is Vinny and Haney on 105.7 The Fan. And Eric, I did kind of want to drill in specifically on the center position because we know that was leaving the draft by your own admission. That was kind of the position that you were a little, I guess, disappointed that you weren't able to attack over draft weekend. And I know you guys were looking around trying to see if there were any external options that you can add to the guys that you already had in-house. Where are you on that? Are you feeling better about your in-house options, or do you feel like you still are looking around the league?
Well, I think that what gives me optimism, I think, Cordell, is that Dwayne Ledford is really, really happy with our group.
What gives me optimism is Dwayne Ledford, period. I trust Coach. I do. Looking at his body of work, I trust him.
Dwayne has done a great job over the years with all different types of centers, skill set wise. He's developed some guys. He's had some veteran centers, but he's done a great job developing guys. He's really, really high on Danny. He's high on Jovan. He's high on Corey Bullock. That being said, our job is to always improve the roster when we can, and we're doing that. We're looking at guys. We're had conversations. Again, we don't have to play games till September. And so,
don't wait to September to find answer, though.
That, sometimes it has to fall the right way.
Yeah, I don't like that answer, that we don't play games till September. I do not. Needs to be a sense of urgency, because if you mess around and wait till September, and whatever few options out there, they will be gone. Like the guy from the Browns that's supposedly cleared, Pochik or whatever, he won't be that long, especially once camp start. And I don't know what other options are out there, but I don't like that answer. We don't play games in September. I understand where he's coming from, meaning, the guys got time to get better, and then we can evaluate and see who should be out there or whatnot. But iron sharpens iron. Add a guy for little or nothing to that room, and who knows? Who knows?
whether it's a free agent, whether it's a trade. Do I feel that Danny could play effectively for us? I do, because Dwayne is really high on him, and I love that. When a coach has confidence in a player, that's a great thing for a GM to know and to feel. And so Dwayne loves our group. He's a phenomenal coach, and I'm excited to see that offensive line play at a high level. And like I said, I'm not sure what that offensive line is going to look like. You know, it is.
All right, Mo. All right. I'm trying to go to the next question.
Going to be different if we stay status quo. I'm also confident, though, that
Eric, what about injuries going into camp? To me, there's two main ones. If hopefully Namdi's back, and then Buchanan, because I mean Buchanan had to have been a surprise to you. And you know what? The thing is, Buchanan's a player when you hear Roquan talk so highly about the guy. And then, I remember Harps, telling us that all the dude does is make tackles, and that's what he did.
Teddy.
Yeah. Well, obviously, both guys are really important to our defense. And I think those injuries last year, now Teddy's was at the end, but both injuries last year, gut-wrenching in different ways. I'm optimistic about both guys. I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but I think you'll see Teddy sooner than later.
Nice.
He has done a great job. I mean, top, 1% of rehabs that I've seen in my time here, which has been 30 years in terms of rehab. Very, very optimistic about
good.
Teddy.
Good, Teddy.
Namdi is a little bit more unclear, I would say. I think everything looks to be pointed in the right direction, but you're talking about a different type of injury, a different type of circumstance. I'm excited about where Namdi is, and I think we'll have more information in the coming weeks. Like in the next 2 weeks, I think we'll have a lot more information that we'll be able to share with people.
Okay, next 2 weeks. Okay, next 2 weeks. So today is the 17th. This came out yesterday on the 16th. So that says first week of training camp, we should have an answer or some news about Nnamdi Madubuike, which will drastically change what we do defensively. Well, not change. No, I take that back. Will drastically improve what we do defensively, which is crazy to me. I talked about this on a couple other videos. The depth, if Madubuike is there, you run your first group out there, Travis Jones, Madubuike. Your second group could be, some version of Calais Campbell and maybe Fubb or John Jenkins or like that. Your third group could consist of Fubb and Penny, or if you still believe in Broderick Washington. That's 6 guys that I do want to see play, and then Broderick. I'm gonna just leave it like that. But man, that's some really good news, in my opinion, about Nnamdi Madubuike. He could really, really, really help this defense be top 5 next year. I think they'll be top 10 without him, but with him, I think they could be top 5 if not higher. That's some really, 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 really good news. Now, I don't want to prolong this. We're already at 17 minutes, so I'm going to stop it right here because I didn't hear this part about Madubuike yesterday, and that's some good news. So we looking at, before August 1 hits, we should have some kind of information about Nnamdi Madubuike. I think that's where it's going with it. So I think they're going to make some kind of announcement at that time. I meaning him, maybe with the team backing him up. Man, we'll see from there. So all prayers hopefully toward the good thing that he will play, and prayers that whatever he decides, if he don't play, that he gonna have a healthy rest of his life. So even if it comes out that he's not gonna play, I just hope that he can have a healthy rest of his life for kids and grandkids and whatnot, if he even got that. So I don't know if he do have that or not. But hey, that's what I got for y'all today, man. I appreciate y'all for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you've not done so, and hit that bell so you be notified when the rest of this content drops. Let me know in the comment section. Thumbs up, that Matter Big ain't gonna play. Thumbs down if he not. All right, y'all. Peace. Enjoy your weekend.